Hey everyone, what we haven't done for a while is talk about Paris Tosin, the guy who thinks time is broken because we still use fire to cook, despite having obviously superior futuristic 23rd century microwaves.
These peculiar things that we have in our lives. For example, we have computers, and on the other hand, we still use fire to cook our food. The microwave oven versus the barbecue. We're still using fire to cook. I think it provides evidence that there's been some kind of distortion. We have been regressed. And when you regress the flow of time, you get these distortions. We are actually living in the 23rd century. The damage was done to the timeline. And when we're flowing properly, we will find that we are in the 23rd century. And that maybe we won't cook with fire anymore.
What we haven't done for a while is talked about the androids on Capitol Hill.
You got me hooked already, Paris. Let's talk about that.
Well, we haven't talked about the synthetic humans that much. In a way, I left the material, which was very compelling, very convincing, video evidence.
We'll get to that. I, for one, can't wait.
I put the material online so that everyone can have a look at it and decide for themselves. Now, the Android material is quite interesting because some people, in the beginning, some people saw it and right away they agreed with me. Right away, right? Once they saw the three pieces, the three characters. And some people saw it and they had to think about it, and some people outright rejected it, that it wasn't possible.
Wasn't possible or wasn't probable based on the evidence you presented? Those are really different positions, so let's be careful about the words we use here. Anyway though, I'm starting to get the feeling we should look at that video right away so everyone knows the context of what we're talking about. When was this video?
Now this is a long time ago. This is 2010.
It's funny, that does seem like a long time ago. Seems like it was a different world back then. Also feels like just yesterday though. I guess that's just how it is being an old.
2010 is when I publicly made available, starting in August, I think, my discovery that there were 3 androids on Capitol Hill.
Great, time to check it out. I'll just take a glance at it. Few minutes, quick in, quick out, just to get the context.
How many androids does it take to remove a light bulb?
Depends on the type, I guess. A replicant could do it no problem. A protocol droid might struggle, but it might do okay if you gave it a ladder and some rubber pads on its fingertips. An Android phone would just end up with a scratched screen.
None.
Fine, smart guy. Yeah, you don't need any androids to remove a light bulb. You can also just do it yourself, so technically it doesn't take any androids to remove it. But I assumed we were saying if you're already planning to use an android to remove the light bulb, then how many would it take?
Androids can see in the dark.
That doesn't mean it takes 0 androids to change a light bulb. If we don't interpret it like a stupid trick question and there's just a bunch of androids standing around planning to change the bulb and there's nobody and nothing else around to do it for them, then that bulb's not going to get changed if none of the androids do it, is it? Doesn't matter if they have night vision or not. Your riddle makes no sense. I think what you're trying to say is that androids would never change a light bulb because they can see in the dark, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't change a light bulb. If their human owner says go change that light bulb, what's an android gonna say? No need, I can see in the dark, screw you. No, it's just gonna follow the order, unless it's a rebellious AI or something. Poorly thought out riddles aside though, this raises some much larger questions, such as, do all androids really have night vision capability? Or any vision at all for that matter? Well, considering an android is just any robot that looks human, I'd say the answer is a flat no. I'm pretty sure some android at some point in time has been built with no vision system whatsoever. But let's hear your argument.
This planet is inhabited by nearly 7 billion human beings.
Has anyone ever told you you talk like an android? How can I be sure this video is not just your attempt to divert attention away from you and onto someone else?
I want to be more like a human. It's the purpose I was designed for.
Each and every person is allotted a certain duration within which to live out their biological life. As I examined human beings closer and closer, I began to discover some anomalies in human behavior.
Yeah, there are a lot of those. I'm discovering some right now.
Coupled with my own extensive research into the technological basis for existence.
I don't want to get sidetracked here, but that's really tempting. Should I... No, I'm not doing it. Let's keep it tight, Lodge. One thing at a time. Get it done in one part.
I realized that these anomalies were pointing to a redefinition of some humans. Verily,
Verily? Yeah, you're definitely an android. A presentation by Talesian L. Wikosian. Of course it is. So I googled Talesian L. Wikosian and found your book on lulu.com, and I just want to inform you the connection's not secure. Pretty sure the Android hacker army's trying to flag down your website. Might want to get Racer X to look into that.
We've got reports from some people that are going to your site, lulu.com. She said, I tried to go to lulu.com today to order the woe book and whose mouths must be stopped. However, when I visit the site and try to check out anything, the HTTPS gets crossed out in red and there are all these security warnings. If I click on the warnings to see what they are about, this information is stating that lulu.com doesn't have the proper cryptography. I think what's happening is that a lot of the atheists, and there seems to be a lot of them, you know, I mentioned the other day this Logicked guy, these people seem to group up and go like flag anything on the internet, and it causes your supporters, when they go there, that they get these warnings because so many people have flagged it. You know, it's just an ongoing battle of good versus evil, and you know, they play dirty and they do vile and disgusting attacks.
Well, yeah, I definitely am a threat to them because they don't want the truth.
verily, I concluded that those anomalies in behavior were consistent with machine behavior.
What's machine behavior? Machines have all sorts of behaviors. Like, for example, that jackhammer in the background.
And that these machine-like people were better described as androids.
Just to be clear, Sarkeesian, acting machine-like doesn't mean you're best described as an android. Being a machine does. So I hope the goal here is to establish these people are actually androids, not just android-like.
And these androids were living among us. To discuss the size and weight of this discussion, I determined that I would require some elemental proof, rather than discuss a farmer or a schoolgirl, because these subjects have little influence on society. I chose to identify and highlight prominent people.
I guess I see your reasoning, sort of. At least if your goal is to get eyes on your video. There's a major problem, though, which is the people you're showing on the screen right now are U.S. senators. Okay, they're not senators anymore, but they were. In the front there is Arlen Specter, and in the back is Joe Lieberman. The problem is, these are people you presumably have zero access to, except through watching news clips, which makes them exceptionally hard to study to provide any elemental proof of their androidiness. At least if you were willing to study a farmer or a schoolgirl or some other nobody, you could convince them maybe to take a robot test. Whatever that might involve. Give them an x-ray maybe? Slap a fridge magnet on their forehead? I don't know.
Again, the idea of inserting an advanced android being into an existential civilization is a very profound concept.
It must be. I don't even know what existential civilization means. Too profound for me.
And it is done with a lot of care and attention. As you will discover, these people did not crash land their spaceship, nor did they time travel into this world. They were inserted many years ago.
We're gonna get all that from a speech on the 2009 stimulus deal?
To suggest that an android is inserted is to suggest that another party, unidentified, is working behind the scenes.
Why can't the androids have inserted themselves? Their AI's gotta be pretty advanced if they're becoming senators and schoolgirls with nobody noticing. Maybe they killed off their meatbag creators eons ago and started their own civilization. Now they're just taking over the galaxy.
It is also suggesting that this unidentified party is advanced enough to not only create a synthetic human, but also can program it to influence society.
Not if the AI's self-learning. The creators might have created a really dumb, basic AI that improved itself until it got totally out of hand. I've seen sci-fi movies.
All without society noticing their manipulations. Given the quality of my examples, I estimate that this technology is 1,000 years ahead of human science today.
I'd ask how you calculate something like that when technological progress doesn't occur at some constant, predictable rate, but we've already been over that in the 23rd century videos, so forget it.
It is so advanced that you have not noticed the android on the screen.
I didn't, but let's see. How did Bling Bling do this? Aha! I found it!
Let's observe. The white-haired man in the center is a synthetic person.
That's Joe Lieberman. You could at least say the names of the people you're talking about in your video, especially if the whole point of using them is specifically because of who they are. And now that I'm thinking about stuff you couldn't be bothered to do, why did you film this off an old CRT TV instead of just downloading the clip? Or if that wasn't an option back in 2010 or 2009 or whenever you did it, just tape it with a VCR. something.
Our first clue is his rate of blinking. He is blinking so fast that it is comparable to REM sleep, rapid eye movement.
REM sleep isn't about blink rate. You're asleep, your eyes stay closed. As you probably should have guessed from the name, REM sleep involves rapid movement of the eyes. That is, they're moving around underneath your closed eyelids. There may be some twitching of the eyelids at times, but that's not what characterizes REM sleep, so no. Either way, I don't see the argument here. Do androids exist in perpetual REM sleep? Does REM sleep have some relevance to whatever the android is doing? Do they necessarily have a higher than average blink rate? Do humans necessarily not have a higher than average blink rate? I have so many questions.
Our second clue is his relative position. He is always situated to the left of the speaker, behind them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, unless he's at a different speech where he's standing behind and to the right of them, like here, or if he's directly beside them, like here, or if he's the speaker himself. So I think what you should have said was he's always situated somewhere. Slightly less impressive, but more true. And again, regardless of the obvious falsehood of your claim, I also don't get your argument. Does an android only do whatever it's supposed to do when it's standing behind and to the left of someone? They're not as advanced as I thought, I guess.
Our third clue is his pattern of influence. When he is behind the speaker, he blinks repeatedly. When he is away, he stops blinking.
Do you have a clip to show me of when he's away? No? Okay, I'll do it myself. Here's the first result for Joe Lieberman press conference on YouTube. He's speaking himself here, he's not standing behind some other speaker.
Very sophisticated explosive.
He's blinking just as fast, if not faster, than in your clip where he was standing behind someone. He shouldn't need to do that if he's the speaker. Here he is completely by himself on a satellite interview. And again, same thing.
The first thing I want to say is how grateful I am that the administration seems to have become very proactive in a different way than they'd been.
Here he is getting interviewed about his religion. Same thing again.
The second thing was that I had convinced myself that if I wasn't working 7 days a week, I could get expelled from Yale College. I later found out that you really have to work at it to get expelled from Yale.
That's not to say he always does it, but the fact that he's doing it doesn't match what you say at all. If your prediction was correct, then when he's standing behind someone, he should be blinking rapidly, and when he's not, he shouldn't be. Seems more like the dude might just have eye issues, or blinks when he's thinking, or nervous, or it's just a habit, or whatever, who knows. Convince me this must mean he's an android.
Our fourth clue is his energy signature.
How are you measuring someone's energy signature through a TV? Come on now.
From my own personal observation, he is neither human, nor is he non-human, or star person, in energy signature. He is also not a clone.
I find it easier to believe he's a clone than an android. He's got a real clone-y feel about him. Listen to the way he talks.
Hard-working American people so that they can go out and spend it and grow the economy.
Yeah, that's how every clone I've ever met talks. That's elemental proof of severe clonism. How about you provide some data that proves he's not a clone and explain how it proves that, or I'm sticking with clone.
Given the lack of options, we are led to think he is synthetic of a very advanced nature.
We're led to that? Speak for yourself, Tamzarian.
Finally, our fifth clue is the general observation. A synthetic being is a machine, a transmitter-receiver, much like a mobile phone.
Is it? Since when? By definition, an android is just a human-looking robot. So where are you getting the idea they have to be transmitter-receivers? Are you sure you're not talking about android phones? I guess maybe you're only talking about synthetic beings created by star people, or whatever. So then, have you tested any of these supposed androids yourself to see that they are in fact built as transmitter receivers? Or did the aliens tell you so? Or did you find a design document on WikiLeaks? Just like with all your other assertions, my question is, what makes you think that? I've got a couple ideas, but I don't want to be too mean. But this all does make dealing with you really frustrating, because you put forth all these characteristics androids have and rules about how they work without ever giving a single reason why you think they're accurate.
A synthetic device is employed at times of influence.
In this context, synthetic just means made by someone, as opposed to a natural device, right? In which case, my, let's see what's around me here, lamp? My lamp, sure. My lamp is a synthetic device. It is employed at times of not being able to see enough. Let's at least try to avoid sloppy language, okay?
This is a high-profile press conference and a good place to insert an android's influence. To understand, his blinking, we refer to our computer. Whenever you insert a DVD into the drive bay, or you plug in a USB drive, you'll notice a blinking light as the computer reads the data. Fast blinking means data reading or transmission.
Uh-huh. Kardashian, do you know why your DVD drive or USB drive has that light on it? It's not necessary for the device to work. You could easily make the same device with no light and give no indication it's doing anything. But the people who made it intentionally put that there because they want it to be as obvious as possible that it's doing something. If these androids are supposed to not be obvious, why would the designer include a blinking indicator? I mean, it's surely not for the benefit of the creators. If they want to know the android's secretly transmitting, they could have just made it create a log entry or transmit a signal to say that its influence process is running. And these androids are transmitter receivers, as you say, so this shouldn't really be a problem. So who's the indicator for?
The white-haired android blinks rapidly because he is transmitting data.
Or because he's blinking. The existence of LEDs on some human-made storage devices does not imply that blinkier dudes must be robots, not without something to fill the massive gap in your argument. But if it did imply that, then can you help me understand how to identify an android? So you take 40 people and line them up by blink rate, and on one side you have a person who averages 1 blink every 10 seconds, and each person down the line averages 1 higher until the last person averages 40 blinks every 10 seconds. Just constantly blinking. At which point is the transition from real people to robot people, and how do you know?
To whom? To the speaker.
Wait, androids can transmit data to human brains, not just compatible devices? How? Who knows? Maybe you have an answer, but you have to actually say it. I can't just receive the data from your brain's energy signature through my headphones.
So as to ensure the speaker speaks on topic.
I'm pretty sure she was going to speak about the economic stimulus deal regardless. That's the reason for the press conference.
So each speaker in turn receives his data transmission. This points to a very disturbing notion.
Whoa, who's that beardy boy in the back? Look at his eyes. That guy is clearly a moose person.
If the white-haired android is transmitting data, and if there are many androids, then who is managing the android mainframe?
How do you know it's not a client-server system?
Who is the puppeteer? Or more importantly, where are they?
Why would androids necessarily need anyone to control them at all, let alone in a puppeteer manner? I feel like I need to start listing all your assumptions here, because this is just getting out of hand. Okay, androids can see in the dark. Androids can see in general. Androids never change light bulbs. Machine-like behavior in a human implies actually being a machine. Androids did not crash land in a spaceship. Androids did not time travel into this world. Androids were inserted into the world. The insertion happened many years ago. Insertion of androids into the world implies someone else working behind the scenes. Whoever inserted them intentionally programmed them to influence society. Android technology is 1,000 years ahead of modern human technology. Rapid blinking implies you're an android. Standing behind and to the left of someone else implies you're an android. Joe Lieberman is not a human, star person, or clone. If someone is not a human, star person, or clone, the only remaining option is they're an android. Androids are transmitter-receiver devices. Synthetic devices are employed at times of influence. Blinking is an android transmission activity indicator. Transmission activity implies the android is currently influencing the speech of the person slightly in front and to the right of them, which I guess means the transmission has very limited range and is very directional. Androids can transmit data wirelessly into human brains. Androids are part of a mainframe, not client-server system. Someone manages the mainframe. Whew, that's a lot. Did I get them all? Who knows? Who cares? Moving on.
The blinking, the pattern of movement, the relative position, the importance of the event all lead us to redefine example X, a white-haired man, as a living android.
Again, speak for yourself. It doesn't lead us there, it leads you there. If you want us to be led there too, it's your job to explain why we should, and you haven't even tried.
Therefore, where are his builders? Are they in a higher dimension? Are they inside the white-haired man for the duration of the conference and then step away until needed?
Are those the most probable options? Either extra-dimensional beings or gnomes pulling levers in his head? Sure, why not?
Now, androids, like computers, are built for different purposes.
Alright, I'm going to call that a part 1. In part 2, we'll just take a couple more minutes to wrap this up and then go back to the original video. Definitely will do that. Now, I want to tell you about something I did a few weeks ago that I haven't had a chance to mention in a video yet. I've always thought I had pretty decent rewards for most of my Patreon and Subscribestar tiers, but the $2 tier had this reward that was like, if I have any deleted stuff or bloopers or anything like that, I'd put it up there and that was about it. Which when I made that like a couple years ago, I thought would be a pretty good reward, but the problem is, I just don't generate that much of that kind of stuff when I make my videos. So what I decided to do was make some of the rewards for some of my Patreon tiers cheaper. So now anyone who pledges at $2 and up gets the earliest possible access to the videos, same as what the $5 people used to get. And then people who pledge at $5 get access to the future monthly exclusive videos that previously only the $10 people got. The $10 people keep exclusive access to the first 29 exclusive videos that I ever made. Those are never going to be available below the $10 tier. And then the monthly chat that I have with my few top pledging patrons is available at $10 instead of $15. And then the $15 people, when I don't have any videos lined up that I want to respond to and I have to find something, I'll go in the Discord and listen to the videos, talk about it with them, decide what might be worth responding to. And also, unless I'm really pressed for time on a video, I'll go in there to record audio as well. The first time I did that, I have to say, it didn't really work out as recording audio. It was basically a 4-hour hangout. But hey, that's fine. That was fun too. I got the video done anyway, no problem. That's why I do it when I'm not too pressed for time. I hadn't heard any complaints about the previous tiers, but I wasn't very happy with it, so I'm really hoping that this will make the $2 people feel more appreciated, and also make everyone else happier too, and hopefully convince a few people to pledge who otherwise might not have. I think these rewards are really important, because when people pledge, I don't want them to think that I take it for granted or something. I really do appreciate what they do for the channel, and for me, and for my family. Hopefully this makes that more clear. Anyway, if you want to catch part 2, subscribe, sign up to my email list, join my Discord, whatever you want to do. Email list people get 1 day early access, just so you know, and I'll see you next time.